Imagine walking through the vast Egyptian desert, where every step brings a new mystery. Beneath the surface, something ancient and forgotten lies waiting. Time has covered its tracks, but nothing stays buried forever. Egypt has always been a land of wonders. Its pyramids rise like giants from the earth, built with a precision that even modern engineers admire. Its temples are carved with stories of gods, warriors, and rulers who shaped the world. For centuries, the mysteries of this civilization have fascinated explorers, historians, and scientists. A new discovery has left scientists speechless. In the heart of the Abusia Cemetery, a team of archaeologists stumbled upon something unprecedented: an embalming warehouse filled with more than 350 carefully preserved jars. The site was unlike anything found before. Inside those jars were traces of substances used for mummification, including oils, resins, and minerals. Some of these substances did not originate in Egypt. They had come from distant lands, places that, according to history, had no contact with ancient Egypt. The presence of these foreign ingredients challenges everything recorded about trade routes and cultural exchanges. We organized the embalming materials into 14 distinct groups, each containing different substances. Among them were 4 canopic jars made of limestone, carefully inscribed with hieroglyphics. These jars belonged to Remar Renat, a military commander of the Foreign Legion. They had prepared everything for his mummification, but something was missing. They never embalmed his body. Someone had initiated the rituals, yet they never reached their completion. It was as if his mummification had been interrupted, leaving behind a mystery that no one could explain. While researchers tried to piece together the reasons behind this strange occurrence, another groundbreaking find emerged. A small, seemingly ordinary object held an extraordinary secret. Tutankhamun's tomb revealed a unique 3-part folding bed among its relics. At first glance, it was just an elegantly designed piece of furniture. But when examined closely, its mechanics revealed something astonishing. This was the earliest known example of a modern-style campaign bed, an object centuries ahead of its time. It was built to be practical, portable, and sturdy, yet designed with the artistic elegance fit for a king. We constructed the bed with an advanced hinge system to prevent excessive tension on the legs. It was a revolutionary design for the time. Tutankhamun, despite his royal status, suffered from physical disabilities, including a clubfoot. He relied on canes to walk. The presence of this bed suggests that, despite his condition, he longed for adventure. He may not have been strong enough for long hunting trips or extensive travels, but his possessions hinted at a desire to experience the world beyond the palace walls. His bed was not just a piece of furniture. It was a symbol of ambition, carefully engineered to support a fragile yet determined ruler. Another astonishing discovery took place in the Temple of Ramses at Abydos, where archaeologists uncovered thousands of mummified carnivorous animal heads. The sheer number of preserved skulls raised countless possibilities about their purpose. These heads dated back to the Ptolemaic period, a time when Egypt's religious and political landscape was evolving. Their presence suggested a form of ritualistic offering, a practice meant to honor the great pharaoh long after his death. The temple itself was a grand structure, a place where history whispered from the stone walls. Hidden within it, an ancient palace with 5-meter thick walls had remained undisturbed for millennia. Alongside the remains of statues, papyri, and garments, archaeologists found personal belongings from long-gone civilizations. These discoveries provided a deeper understanding of how people lived, worshipped, and paid homage to their rulers in ways previously unknown. Remember to join our community by subscribing to this channel. Egypt's history has always been full of surprises. Just when it seems that every mystery has been solved, another emerges from the sands. One of the most remarkable artifacts ever found was the golden funeral mask of Wen Ibuan Yad, a Sudanese general. His mask, crafted with gold and inlaid with colored glass, stood as a masterpiece of ancient craftsmanship. It covered his face and ears, secured by tiny perforations that fastened it to his head. Every detail was precise, from the smooth contours of his nose to the lifelike shape of his lips. The mask radiated perfection, yet one odd detail stood out. His ears were not symmetrical. The left ear protruded slightly more than the right, a rare flaw in an object designed to represent an idealized form. The general's burial chamber contained more than just the mask. It was filled with treasures, including gold pectorals, rings, bracelets, and even a miniature lapis lazuli statue of a butcher. The presence of these artifacts hinted at his high status, yet little was known about him in historical records. His tomb held another unexpected discovery: several canopic jars stored outside the sarcophagus. These sacred vessels, meant to hold vital organs for the afterlife, were not placed within the burial chamber as expected. Their unusual positioning raised new questions about whether his mummification had followed traditional rituals or if something had gone wrong. One such discovery emerged from the Abu Sir Cemetery, an ancient burial ground used during Egypt's 26th dynasty, 664 to 525 BCE. When archaeologists first arrived at the site, they expected to find tombs similar to those already uncovered. Instead, they stumbled upon a massive embalming warehouse, unlike anything seen before. The structure contained more than 350 ceramic jars, each meticulously arranged in groups. These jars once held the oils, resins, and other substances used to preserve the dead. Some contained remnants of natron, the primary drying agent in mummification, while others held mixtures of ingredients that should not have existed in Egypt at the time. The analysis revealed compounds that originated from distant lands, some as far as the Arabian Peninsula and even Southeast Asia. Among the most mysterious findings in the warehouse were 4 limestone canopic jars belonging to Rema Renat, a military commander. His family had prepared his burial with the utmost care. Sacred vessels bore his name. The rituals had commenced, but something completely halted the process. All indications point to Renat's intended traditional funerary rites, but his mummification was incomplete at the last minute. There are no records of what happened next. No significant military accounts mention his name. No burial inscriptions indicate his final resting place, and his body remains undiscovered. The ancient Egyptians believed that an improper burial could trap a soul between life and death, a restless existence where one could never reach the afterlife. If something went wrong with Renat's embalming, was it because of a mistake, or was it intentional? Not long after the discovery at Abu Sir, another unexpected artifact emerged from the tomb of Tutankhamun, Egypt's legendary boy king. His burial chamber, sealed away for over 3,300 years, was already famous for its golden mask, statues, and chariots. Tutankhamun suffered from a severe physical condition. His clubfoot left him unable to walk without assistance. He had over 130 canes buried with him, a clear indication of his struggle with mobility. Yet, the bed suggests something unexpected. Egyptian burial practices often reflected the deceased's journey into the afterlife. The presence of this unique bed suggests that Tutankhamun's tomb was designed for more than just an ordinary burial. It may have symbolized a voyage beyond death, a transition into the unknown. Researchers have noted that his tomb was smaller than expected for a king, further reinforcing the mystery and suggesting a rushed burial. When they sealed the tomb, the paint on the walls had not yet dried. Some believe this points to an unexpected death, while others suspect a deeper secret, one tied to his controversial rule. As excavations continued in other areas of Egypt, another shocking discovery surfaced at the Temple of Ramses at Abydos. Abydos was one of the most sacred sites in ancient Egypt. It was the legendary gateway to the underworld, a place where Osiris, the god of the afterlife, was believed to dwell. If these animals were sacrificed here, they may have been part of an ancient and forgotten rite, one meant to maintain balance between the living and the dead. Egypt's fascination with the afterlife extended beyond human remains. The thousands of mummified carnivorous animal heads found at Abydos provide further proof of this. These remains, believed to date back to the Ptolemaic period 332 to 30 BCE, suggest that elaborate rituals were being conducted long after the rule of the great pharaohs. Historians have long suspected the use of animals in religious ceremonies, but never in such overwhelming numbers. The presence of jackals, lions, leopards, and other predatory species raises new questions about the nature of ancient Egyptian worship. The use of these animals in sacrificial ceremonies suggests an unexplored level of ritual complexity. Their role may have been tied to offerings made to deities, such as Anubis, the god of the dead, whose jackal-like form was believed to guide souls into the afterlife. The discoveries at Abydos also provide deeper insights into how ancient Egyptians viewed their connection with the divine. Many temples, including the Serapeum of Alexandria, serve as spiritual and healing centers, drawing worshippers from far and wide. These sites were seen as places where people could seek protection, good fortune, or cures for ailments. Some temples, like those dedicated to Serapis, a god who blended Egyptian and Greek traditions, demonstrated how religious beliefs evolved through cultural exchange. The fusion of ideas is evident even in architecture. The recently examined Temple of Edfu, built during the Ptolemaic era, is one of the best preserved monuments in Egypt. Every inch of its structure is covered in hieroglyphs and inscriptions detailing the myths of Horus, the falcon-headed god of kingship. These texts, once dismissed as simple decorative engravings, are now recognized as a historical record of rituals, festivals, and divine connections between rulers and gods. The Temple of Edfu serves as a reminder that ancient Egyptian civilization was not static. It was constantly evolving, influenced by both internal and external forces. The inclusion of Greek architectural elements and artistic styles during the Ptolemaic period further proves how Egypt remained a powerful cultural hub, absorbing and reshaping traditions from different empires. One of the most astonishing pieces of evidence reinforcing Egypt's technological and artistic advancements is the funeral mask of General Wen Ibn Yad, a Sudanese commander. His golden mask, discovered in a royal tomb, is a masterpiece of ancient craftsmanship. Unlike the rigid, idealized depictions often found in burial masks, his features are so detailed and lifelike that they seem almost modern. Every contour, every facial line, and even the asymmetry of his ears suggests a level of realism rarely seen in ancient Egyptian artifacts. Are you enjoying the story? Support our channel by clicking the subscribe button. This discovery highlights just how advanced Egyptian artisans were in metalwork and artistic realism. The techniques used in crafting this mask reveal knowledge of precision metallurgy and fine detailing that surpasses what was once believed possible for that era. Another groundbreaking revelation came from the Pharaoh of Silver, whose tomb was found in Tanis in 1940. Unlike most royal burials, which feature gold sarcophagi, this pharaoh was entombed in a solid silver coffin, a material even rarer and more valuable than gold in ancient Egypt. The significance of this burial cannot be overstated. We had to import silver, which is an extremely precious resource. The choice. The deeper archaeologists dig, the more they find traces of an Egypt that was more advanced, more interconnected, and more mysterious than ever imagined. One of the most controversial theories suggests that an unknown advanced civilization that existed before recorded history may have influenced Egypt. Some researchers propose that the sophistication of Egyptian engineering, evident in the construction of the Great Pyramid, the alignment of temples with celestial bodies, and the mathematical precision found in their monuments, was not an independent achievement, but rather a continuation of a much older knowledge system. The Osirian hypothesis suggests that Egypt inherited knowledge from a prehistoric culture that thrived during the Ice Age, possibly 12,000 years ago. Proponents of this idea point to structures like the Osirion in Abydos, which features massive megalithic blocks arranged in a way that predates traditional Egyptian construction techniques. Some claim that the erosion patterns on the Sphinx suggest it was exposed to prolonged rainfall, something that would places construction at a time when the Sahara was a lush, fertile region, possibly as early as 10,000 BCE. If true, this theory implies that Egypt's history does not begin with the first dynasty, circa 3100 BCE, but extends much further back. Some believe that the true origins of Egyptian civilization have been deliberately erased or lost due to time, war, or natural disasters. Another controversial theory suggests that Egypt was in contact with early South American civilizations long before conventional historians believe transoceanic travel was possible. Evidence for this theory comes from the discovery of cocaine and nicotine traces in the hair of Egyptian mummies. These substances, which originate from plants found only in the Americas, should not have been available in Egypt during ancient times. Some scholars argue that this discovery is proof of an ancient global trade network that connected Egypt with distant lands across the Atlantic. Others suggest that plant species related to coca and tobacco may have once grown in regions closer to Egypt and have since gone extinct. However, no botanical evidence supports this claim, leaving the South American connection theory open for debate. The similarities between Egyptian and Mesoamerican pyramids also fuel speculation. Both cultures built monumental structures that aligned with celestial bodies, performed elaborate burial rituals, and placed great emphasis on the afterlife. While mainstream archaeology attributes these similarities to independent cultural evolution, some theorists argue that an unknown link once connected the civilizations. Ancient Egypt was known for its meticulous record-keeping, yet certain texts hint at knowledge that remains unexplained. The Thule Papyrus, an alleged document detailing an event from the reign of Thutmose III, circa 1480 BCE, describes a strange celestial phenomenon witnessed by the pharaoh and his army. The text speaks of circles of fire appearing in the sky, moving silently and suddenly vanishing. Some interpret this as evidence of early extraterrestrial encounters, while others believe it may describe a rare atmospheric phenomenon misinterpreted as divine. Another enigmatic text is the Westcar Papyrus, which recounts magical acts performed by priests and rulers. One story tells of a prophecy made to King Khufu, 2589 to 2566 BCE, foretelling the birth of a child who would overthrow his dynasty. While many regard this as a myth, some suggest that hidden within these tales are references to real historical events deliberately concealed within symbolic language. Similarly, the famine stela inscribed on Sahel Island describes how Pharaoh Djoser, circa 2700 BCE, received divine guidance on how to end a devastating famine. The text instructs him to construct a temple and pay homage to Khnum, the god responsible for the Nile's flooding cycles. While mainstream historians see this as an early example of religious storytelling, alternative researchers suggest that this may encode lost knowledge about environmental and agricultural sciences. One of the most debated subjects in Egyptology is the question of how the pyramids were built. Traditional theories suggest that thousands of workers used ramps, sledges, and sheer manpower to move the 2.5-ton limestone blocks into place. However, skeptics argue that these explanations do not fully account for the precision and scale of the structures. For thousands of years, the mysteries of Egypt have captivated the world. With every excavation, the past whispers through the stones, revealing fragments of a civilization that once reigned supreme. But even as archaeologists piece together history, countless questions remain unanswered. The discoveries made in Abu Sir, Abydos, Alexandria, and beyond are not just remnants of a bygone era. They are clues to a past that is far more complex than we ever imagined. Egypt was not an isolated kingdom. It was a crossroads of civilizations. The embalming warehouse at Abu Sir provided undeniable evidence that Egypt's reach extended far beyond its borders. The presence of exotic substances, once thought to be impossible imports, proves that ancient Egyptians were engaged in long-distance trade with lands stretching across the Middle East, Asia, and possibly even the Americas. These connections suggest that the empire was part of a sophisticated, interconnected world centuries before modern historians acknowledged such possibilities. If you are enjoying this story, consider clicking Super Thanks. Your support helps us uncover more forgotten mysteries, share incredible discoveries, and bring history to life in ways never seen before. But what stands out most about these discoveries is what they imply about ancient knowledge. The unfinished rituals of Rema Renat, the missing mummies, and the thousands of mummified carnivorous animal heads found at Abydos hint at unspoken traditions and forgotten practices. Egyptian society was built upon strict spiritual laws. Each step in the burial process carried deep significance, If an embalming process was abandoned, if tombs were sealed in haste, or if burial practices did not follow established customs, there must have been a reason. These deviations from tradition suggest that something interrupted the natural order, leaving behind only faint traces of what truly happened. The cultural fusion found in Egyptian temples, tombs, and artifacts only reinforces how adaptable and far-reaching this civilization was. Structures like the Temple of Edfu and the Serapeum of Alexandria reveal that Egyptian culture did not remain static. It absorbed, transformed, and evolved over centuries. The blend of Greek, Persian, and African influences demonstrates that Egypt was not merely influenced by the outside world, but was also a dominant force in shaping the course of history. Beyond cultural exchanges, there are still mysteries hidden in plain sight. The silver coffin of Pharaoh Psusenes I, the lifelike mummy portraits of Philadelphia, and the strange architectural choices of the Great Pyramid of Giza all suggest that Egyptian craftsmanship and engineering were generations ahead of their time. These discoveries cast doubt on the conventional timeline of human development, suggesting that the ancients may have lost some of their knowledge in the process. Thanks for watching. Join our community by subscribing to this channel. Until the next video.